Open your pantry and treat it like evidence. The boxes and cans look innocent: golden shrimp, wholesome oats, heart-healthy stamps that practically wink at your better judgment. Yet across 2024 and 2025, fresh lab tests and safety reviews have raised a chilling possibility. Some of the foods Americans trust most may be quietly dosing older shoppers with heavy metals and controversial additives. If labels promise strength and longevity, why do so many results point toward weaker bones, higher blood pressure, and foggier memory? If a budget card is supposed to stretch dollars, what if it's also stretching the timeline of future illness for our families? And the question that hits hardest: when snacks marketed as clean fuel show the same red flags as junk food, who exactly is being protected? This is the Downturn Report, where the truth gets personal. Today, we're pulling back the freezer door and cracking the cans on 7 popular Aldi foods that are slowly ruining your health. Number 1. Frozen breaded shrimp. It's one of Aldi's freezer section crown jewels, the kind of item that slides into the cart without a second thought because it promises a quick dinner that feels indulgent. The box shouts golden and crispy against a backdrop of ocean blues, with plating suggestions that make you think of seaside cafes and family get-togethers. For many older shoppers, it's comfort and convenience in one. No peeling, no prep, just oven-ready protein with a dash of omega-3 respectability. But late 2024 into 2025, independent lab tests and updated U.S. seafood safety reports stripped away that glossy picture. Some batches of Aldi's breaded shrimp tested with elevated cadmium, lead, and arsenic, heavy metals that don't just pass through your system but settle in, quietly working against your heart, bones, and brain. Cadmium is especially ruthless for seniors, leaching calcium from bones and raising fracture risk. Lead invades the nervous system, dulling reflexes, raising blood pressure, and nudging memory decline forward. Arsenic, particularly in its inorganic form, is classified as a carcinogen linked to cancers of the bladder, lung, and skin. In the European Union, strict heavy metal limits in seafood would block certain shrimp products outright. In the U.S., they remain stocked under light and heart-friendly claims. The contamination begins long before the shrimp reach Aldi's freezers. Much of it is farmed overseas in aquaculture ponds where the water is tainted, sometimes from nearby industrial plants, sometimes from decades-old pesticide use. Shrimp, being bottom feeders, absorb whatever's in their environment. Industrial breading and frying don't remove metals, they lock them in. Processing plants serving multiple brands can spread a contaminated lot across many labels, making it nearly impossible to trace. And the metals aren't the only problem. Titanium dioxide, banned in the EU since 2022 for potential DNA damage, has been found in the breading to keep its golden hue. Monosodium glutamate, MSG, restricted in several countries for ties to blood pressure spikes and metabolic strain, is often added for flavor. Some glazes and sauces include sodium nitrite, banned in certain nations for its link to higher cancer risk when cooked at high heat. It's easy to see why Aldi's breaded shrimp wins loyalty. Affordable, convenient, and a touch of luxury for fixed-income households. But for those eating it weekly, especially alongside other seafood, metal buildup can be a slow, silent sabotage, surfacing years later as brittle bones, clouded thinking, or an unwelcome diagnosis. You can still enjoy shrimp without the baggage. Choose wild caught from verified clean waters, ideally raw and unprocessed, from sources that publish batch-specific heavy metal results. Skip the breaded versions and make your own coating with clean breadcrumbs and spices, steering clear of titanium dioxide and MSG. For budget-friendly rotation, mix in safer seafood like wild Alaskan salmon, sardines, or mackerel, species that naturally carry far less metal. And the unsettling thought remains: if a box of golden shrimp, a freezer aisle celebration. Can carry a toxic legacy long after the meal? How many other Aldi favorites are quietly scripting the next chapter of our health without us even knowing? Number 2, canned chili. It sells the dream of rugged American comfort, hearty beef, tender beans, smoky spice, and a pull-top lid that turns dinner into a 5-minute victory. Aldi's canned chili plays the part perfectly. The label hums with talk of protein for strength, fiber for digestion, and subtle hints that it's a better choice for your heart. But late 2024 through early 2025, lab tests ripped the varnish clean off that picture. Multiple batches of canned chili were found to contain elevated lead, cadmium, and arsenic, heavy metals infamous for attacking the very organs this meal claims to protect. Lead doesn't wander into chili by accident. It rides in through beans grown in soil still holding industrial residues, peppers cultivated where pesticides from decades past linger, and beef raised on feed grown in contaminated farmland. Cadmium is another slow killer, undermining bone density and straining kidneys. Risks that multiply for older adults already on the edge of osteoporosis or renal decline. Arsenic finds its way in through polluted irrigation water or spice blends sourced without proper screening. In the European Union, some U.S. canned chilies would be stripped from shelves for exceeding heavy metal limits. In America, they stay parked under protein-packed labels. The chemical profile can be just as grim. Sodium nitrite, used to preserve meat, is banned in certain countries because it can form cancer-linked nitrosamines when heated. Titanium dioxide, banned in the EU since 2022 for its DNA damage potential, is used to keep colors stable. Monosodium glutamate, MSG, restricted in multiple nations for ties to blood pressure spikes and metabolic disruption, is a familiar flavor booster. TBHQ, prohibited in some parts of the world over cancer concerns, lurks in ingredient lists to keep that fresh from the can taste months after production. The danger is compounded by repetition. For seniors on fixed incomes, canned chili is affordable, filling, and shelf-stable. That means the same contaminated sources, bowl after bowl, month after month, building up in the body like sediment in an old pipe. Over years, every easy dinner becomes another nudge toward heart disease, cognitive decline, and brittle bones. You don't have to abandon chili, just take it back. Cook large batches at home with dried beans, fresh peppers, and meat from farms with documented feed and water safety. Freeze it in glass jars for quick reheats, no additives required. If you must buy canned, choose brands without MSG, titanium dioxide, or sodium nitrite, and that post-batch specific heavy metal tests meeting EU standards. Swapping part of the beef for lentils or quinoa can also cut contamination risk while keeping it hearty. If even the foods we turn to for comfort can hide poisons outlawed overseas, are we nourishing our bodies? Or just feeding the slow burn health crisis that could consume the next generation? Number 3, macaroni and cheese. Some foods don't just sit on the shelf, they practically wink at you as you pass. Aldi's boxed mac and cheese has mastered that art. Bright blue or sunshine yellow packaging, the curve of elbow pasta sealed beside a pouch of powdered cheese, and a nostalgia so strong you can almost hear a kitchen chair scraping across the floor from decades ago. It's the easy fix for a chilly night, the dependable standby when the fridge looks bare, the same comfort many older Americans once served their kids and now keep tucked away for themselves. But lab results from late 2024 into 2025, alongside fresh safety reviews here and abroad, have torn through the sentiment. Tests show several Aldi private label mac and cheese products carry elevated lead, cadmium, and arsenic. An uninvited trio in any recipe. The contamination starts in the ground. Wheat for the pasta may grow in fields laced with the ghosts of old pesticides or industrial runoff. Dairy for the powdered cheese often comes from cows, fed crops grown in contaminated soils, or watered from tainted sources. Cadmium gnaws at kidney function and bone strength. Lead chips away at heart health and cognitive sharpness. Arsenic, especially in inorganic form, brings with it cancer risks no comfort food should carry. In the EU, certain contamination levels would force immediate removal from stores. In the US, they stay stocked thanks to looser thresholds. The cheese powder is where the chemical alarms start blaring. Artificial colors, red 40, yellow 5, and yellow 6. Banned or heavily restricted in children's foods across parts of Europe. Are there to fake that perfect cheddar hue? Titanium dioxide, outlawed in the EU since 2022 for its DNA-damaging potential, sometimes lurks inside to brighten the blend. Sodium aluminum phosphate, an aluminum additive tied to neurotoxicity and restricted in several nations, can also appear. That creamy forkful is less simple comfort and more chemistry experiment. The real sting comes from what mac and cheese represents. Not just a meal, but a thread in America's food identity. For a senior eating alone, it's warmth without effort. For grandparents serving grandkids, it's an instant win. Yet that same ritual can quietly layer metals and banned additives into bodies across generations, turning shared comfort into shared risk. You don't have to abandon it, just remake it on your terms. Use pasta from brands posting heavy metal test results and cheese from dairies with verified clean feed and water. Skip neon powders by melting real cheddar or adding pureed carrot or squash for color. If speed matters, some refrigerated or frozen versions, made without powdered packets, cut down additives and reduce contamination risk. So before you rip open that next familiar box, ask yourself, if even the foods we pass down like heirlooms can carry toxins forbidden overseas, what exactly are we passing down besides a recipe? Number 4, breakfast sausage patties. The sizzle hits your ears before the fork hits your plate. That familiar sound of breakfast sausage in a skillet, the scent drifting through the kitchen like an alarm clock you actually want to wake up to. Aldi's breakfast sausage patties look tailor-made for that moment. Neat little rounds in a tidy package framed by sunny-side eggs, golden toast, and the kind of steaming coffee mug you'd see in a roadside diner. For many older Americans, they promise protein, comfort, and a dash of nostalgia without the price of eating out. But beneath that warm, familiar image, the 2024 to 2025 lab reports tell a very different story. Independent food safety testing has found certain Aldi sausage patties carrying elevated lead, cadmium, and arsenic. Metals that don't just pass through the body but settle in, slowly grinding down the heart, brain, and bones over years. Lead raises blood pressure, hardens arteries, and accelerates cognitive decline even at low doses. Cadmium is merciless on kidneys and leaches calcium from bones, a dangerous blow for seniors already facing fracture risks. Arsenic layers on a carcinogenic threat that compounds over time. In the European Union, some of the detected heavy metal levels would keep these patties out of stores entirely. In the US, they slip past softer limits. And the hazards don't stop there. Sodium nitrite, used to preserve color and flavor, is banned in several countries for its ability to form cancer-linked nitrosamines during cooking. Titanium dioxide, prohibited in the EU since 2022 for potential DNA damage, can appear in seasoning mixes to keep colors uniform. Monosodium glutamate, MSG, restricted in multiple nations for ties to blood pressure spikes and metabolic strain, is often used to amp up flavor. Some varieties even contain TBHQ, a preservative banned in parts of the world over cancer concerns. The chain of contamination starts long before these patties hit Aldi's fridge case. Pigs can accumulate metals through feed grown in polluted soil or irrigated with unsafe water. Seasonings often come from global suppliers with lax oversight, where lead or cadmium contamination is common. Shared industrial equipment can spread a single tainted ingredient across thousands of patties. For some, these sausages are more than food. They're a small daily ritual, a reward after an early morning, a quick protein fix when energy is low. But repeated week after week, month after month, that ritual becomes a steady drip of metals and banned additives into the body. A safer path means taking back control of what's on your plate. Choose fresh sausage made in store by trusted butchers, from pork raised on clean feed and water. Skip anything listing sodium nitrite, titanium dioxide, or MSG. If convenience is key, make a big batch from ground pork or turkey at home, season it yourself with herbs you trust, and freeze portions for quick mornings. And here's the question worth sitting with over that first cup of coffee. If a single patty can carry a chemical and metal load that would be illegal in other countries, what else is sitting on our breakfast tables, smiling at us while quietly stealing our health before the day even starts? Number 5. Frozen chicken nuggets. They may look harmless in their neat little boxes, golden, bite-sized, and smiling from Aldi's freezer aisle, like they've been waiting just for you. The packaging shouts kid-friendly promises, made with white meat, no artificial preservatives, and cheerful fonts that seem designed to lower your guard. For grandparents, they're a no-fuss crowd pleaser when the grandkids come over. For seniors watching their budgets, they're a quick way to get a hot meal without wrangling raw poultry. But independent lab tests from late 2024 into early 2025 have cracked open that glossy image, revealing that some frozen chicken nugget batches sold under Aldi's private labels aren't just packing chicken and breading, they're delivering elevated doses of lead, cadmium, and arsenic. Lead works like a patient thief, dulling mental clarity and pushing blood pressure higher. Cadmium quietly undermines kidney function and leaches calcium from bones. Arsenic layers on the slow burn thread of cancer. These metals stick around in the body for years, turning frequent nugget nights into a steady, invisible buildup. Under the European Union's stricter limits for heavy metals in processed meat, some of the contamination levels found in U.S. nuggets would keep them off the shelves entirely, and the metals are only part of the trap. Sodium nitrite, banned in certain countries for creating carcinogenic nitrosamines during high-heat cooking, is still common in nugget production. Titanium dioxide, outlawed in the EU since 2022 for potential DNA damage, has turned up in breading to keep that picture-perfect golden hue. Monosodium glutamate, MSG, restricted in multiple nations for its links to high blood pressure and metabolic strain, often hides in seasoning blends. TBHQ, a synthetic preservative banned in some markets due to cancer concerns, has been spotted on ingredient lists, quietly extending shelf life at the expense of long-term health. Contamination often begins before the birds are even processed. Poultry feed made from grains grown in polluted soil or irrigated with unsafe water can load chickens with metals from birth. Nuggets are typically a blend of trimmings from multiple birds, multiplying any contamination. Add breading made from flour or spices sourced in high-risk regions, and you've got a perfect storm for compounded exposure. It's easy to see the appeal. They're affordable, fast, and feel familiar. But in households where time, energy, and money are stretched thin, that very convenience means they can show up on the table multiple times a week. Each quick fix quietly ticks the clock forward toward brittle bones, foggy thinking, or a heart too strained to keep pace. A safer plate starts with fresh chicken from verified clean sources, cut into pieces, coated in whole-grain breadcrumbs, and baked instead of fried. If convenience is non-negotiable, look for frozen options with short, recognizable ingredient lists and brands that publish batch-specific heavy metal tests. or trade them out for oven-baked fish bites from low-mercury species like pollock or cod, breaking the poultry cycle and cutting contaminant risk. And here's the question that lingers long after the freezer door shuts. If even the so-called safe finger food, marketed to both the youngest and the oldest among us, can carry a cocktail of metals and chemicals banned overseas, what does that really say about the price we pay for convenience in America's kitchen? Number 6, bagged spinach. It's the sort of product that sells itself without saying a word. Crisp green leaves peeking through a clear bag, splashed with phrases like triple washed, farm fresh, and packed with vitamins. In the health playbook, spinach is the poster child, the vegetable you're told to eat if you care about your heart, your bones, and your future. For many older Americans, grabbing a bag at Aldi feels like a small daily victory, a doctor-approved choice they can make without breaking the budget. But testing from late 2024 into early 2025 has cracked that halo clean in two. Certain bagged spinach products sold at Aldi have turned up with elevated cadmium and lead, two metals that toxicologists agree have no safe dose. Cadmium is the silent thief of kidney strength and bone density, building its damage slowly over years. Lead is no less insidious, slipping into the bloodstream to raise blood pressure, cloud thinking, and chip away at heart health. Under the European Union's tighter limits for leafy greens, some contamination levels already detected in U.S. spinach wouldn't make it past the loading dock. The cause starts at the roots. Literally, spinach hugs the ground, pulling whatever is in the soil straight into its leaves. If that soil carries the legacy of industrial runoff, banned pesticide residues, or cadmium-heavy fertilizers, the plant soaks it up like a sponge. Polluted irrigation water only seals the deal. And no matter how many times it's triple washed, metals lodged inside plant tissue don't rinse away. Some salad kits containing spinach carry bonus hazards in their dressings and toppings. Titanium dioxide, banned in the EU since 2022 for potential DNA damage, still shows up in certain creamy dressings to brighten and stabilize them. Monosodium glutamate, MSG, restricted in several countries over links to high blood pressure and metabolic issues, hides in seasoning packets to punch up flavor. The sting here runs deeper than with most foods because spinach isn't just another vegetable. It's a symbol of good intentions. Seniors swapping potatoes for greens think they're protecting their future, not layering on slow poisons. For budget-conscious shoppers, Aldi's bagged spinach can be an affordable indulgence, bought in bulk during sales and eaten daily until the bag's empty, turning a trace contaminant into a daily dose. To keep greens on your plate without the toxic side effects, buy from local farmers who can provide recent soil and water test results. Rotate your greens. Arugula, romaine, and butter lettuce typically absorb less cadmium than spinach. Raise your own crop in clean soil, even in pots or raised beds, to bypass contaminated farmland. And for smoothies, frozen spinach from brands that publish heavy metal testing can sometimes be safer than fresh, which leaves the question no label will answer. If even the vegetable that's been held up as the standard bearer for healthy eating can quietly deliver metals banned across the ocean, how many other rules of good nutrition are quietly rewriting the story of our health? Number 7, granola bars. They sit in the snack aisle wearing a halo. Golden oats, a sprinkle of almonds, maybe a delicate drizzle of honey or chocolate. Aldi's granola bars lean heavily on the heart-healthy pitch, with bold promises of whole grains for lasting energy, fiber for digestion, and just enough sweetness to feel indulgent without the guilt. For many older Americans, they're the perfect glove compartment or purse snack. Easy to carry, quick to eat, and shelf-stable for weeks. But late 2024 through early 2025, independent lab tests and updated U.S. food safety data stripped away the wholesome image. Certain Aldi granola bars, especially those made with Rice Crisps, nuts, and chocolate, have tested positive for lead, cadmium, and arsenic at levels that raise red flags for long-term health. Rice Crisps, a frequent base ingredient, are notorious for soaking up arsenic from soil and irrigation water, especially in regions with a legacy of pesticide use. Nuts can pull cadmium from the ground they grow in. And the cocoa used for chocolate drizzle or chips. It's often a double offender, carrying both lead and cadmium from harvesting and drying practices. Eaten daily, these bars can quietly stack up a toxic load. Arsenic inching up cancer risk, cadmium eroding kidney function and bone strength, and lead clouding memory while pushing blood pressure higher. Under the European Union's stricter limits, some U.S. products with these contamination levels wouldn't make it to the shelf. The ingredient list can deliver an extra punch. Titanium dioxide, banned in the EU since 2022 for its potential to damage DNA, appears in certain flavored coatings to keep colors bright. Artificial colors like yellow 5 or red 40, restricted in multiple countries over behavioral and neurological concerns, show up in fruit-flavored layers. Low sugar bars sometimes swap cane sugar for sucralose or aspartame, both banned in children's products in parts of the world for links to cancer and metabolic harm. Paired with heavy metals, these additives turn what's marketed as a health snack into a slow-drip hazard. The betrayal cuts deeper because granola bars are sold as the moral high ground of snacking. Better than chips, better than cookies, a smart way to bridge the gap between meals. Seniors keep them on hand for walks, road trips, or quick hunger fixes, never suspecting that the habit itself could undermine heart health, bone density, and cognitive sharpness. A safer bite means taking control of the recipe. Choose bars without Rice Crisps, using oats, seeds, and dried fruit as the base. Skip chocolate unless the brand publishes heavy metal testing on its cocoa. Avoid labels listing titanium dioxide, artificial colors, or artificial sweeteners. Or make your own in bulk. Rolled oats, natural nut butter, and a touch of honey pressed into a pan, cut into squares, and stored for the week will give you the snack without the toxic baggage. And the next time you see that heart-healthy stamp, ask yourself, if even the snacks dressed up as clean fuel can carry metals and chemicals banned overseas, how much of what we believe about healthy eating is just clever marketing hiding what we can't taste or see? What other healthy foods hide dangers we can't taste? Subscribe now. Let's keep uncovering the truths that protect our future.
Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our daily content. Now feel free to check out some of our newest and best videos currently showing on the screen. Goodbye, and see you in the next video.